I've been lucky enough to ride bikes in the Greater Toronto area for the better part of my life. For those who haven't had the chance to ride here, it would be easy to pass this city off simply as a concrete grid. But for those of us who've explored between the walls of the Don Valley, we know Toronto is home to one of the world's best urban trail networks. Toronto has given me some of the best days of my life, on and off the bike. I've pushed myself to the limit, and I've enjoyed every moment. I've spent entire days learning a new trick at Joyride 150 Indoor Bike Park. And I've spent even more time crashing there. But it was Toronto's Don Valley Trail Network where I rediscovered my love for mountain biking in my late 20s. And that love has led me away from the city and onto higher ground. Thanks for a great ride, Toronto. I'm moving to the mountains. Introducing the Gatineaus. This region of Quebec is home to endless trails, weaving their way between flat lakes, mountains, and the banks of the Gatineau River. These relatively small mountains offer big mountain terrain found only minutes away from our nation's capital. A seemingly perfect balance of city life and outdoor living pulled me to this beautiful place. I moved here over the winter and I've been learning how to ski, but I've also been patiently waiting for the snow to melt so that I can get out on the trails. I've spent the winter watching videos of my new local trails that I've yet to ride. Gatineau Park and its endless single track look like a great place to gain some mileage on more XC-oriented trails. Camp Fortune is home to a lift-access bike park packed with aggressive downhill trails. And Mont Ste. Marie is the king of vertical in the region, with steep slabs and big descents. But the place I'm most excited to ride is much, much closer to home.
So it's my first day in the yard, and I am stoked to be out here building my very own trail. But it's early in the spring, and this place is full of water. So today I'm just gonna go through and rake out the natural drainage, and hopefully that helps this place dry out a little bit quicker so I can start building earlier in the season. So it's my second day in the yard, and it's time to pick out a line for my first trail. So I'm up in the top corner of the yard right now, and over to my right is the first feature I'll be working on. This is the top drop on a double rock drop line. So the trail's gonna enter from the right, and then the rider will drop off this small rock here, and they're pretty much gonna have to land with their brakes on because they're almost immediately gonna be turning right onto this uneven rock ledge here, which has about a 4-foot drop on the left. Don't wanna go down there. And like I said, this is quite uneven, so I might have to even out some of this because at the end, there's about a 4 or 5 foot drop, and the landing will be just to the left of that big rock slab. And after that, I'd like to put a berm down by that tree, hooking left to send the rider off down the trail that way. So this is how far I got the other night before it got dark out. There's the rock drop up there, land there, and hit the corner. But it's still a bit tight, so what I think I'm gonna have to do is bring the corner out to here. And right here is a good place to grab some dirt because I'm actually gonna dig a drainage ditch right through here, which will run down to the front of the berm and down the hill. So I'm back in the yard for another day, and I'm now the proud new owner of a bucket. So just to get that amount of dirt, I pulled out that amount of rocks. So this is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. So yesterday we got some heavy rain, and over the next 2 weeks we're supposed to get a lot more. The good news is that I got to put my drainage to the test, but the bad news is it failed the test. So the water has been running down the ditch that I dug, but unfortunately bogs down right at the end of the turn. So what I'm going to do to protect this whole spot is lay down some flat rocks, kind of like a patio, and that should protect the trail, but I'm also hoping that it looks cool. So it's been about a week since I've managed to get out in the yard and do any considerable amount of work on the trail. It's just been raining a lot, but I have managed to get out for half an hour here and there to get a little bit of work done. So with all the rain coming down, I really started to notice the water pooling up at the bottom of the berm. I managed to bring the rock armoring out a few more feet, but this was a lot of work. Okay, so while I wait for this berm to dry out behind me, I'm gonna build up a landing for this rock drop. Now originally I wanted to land right here on this rock and keep it raw, but unfortunately the berm is so close to this rock, it's only about 2 bike lengths, and if I bounce at all, I'm gonna take a header into that tree, and I definitely don't want that. So a nice smooth landing will keep me in control from here to there. So here's the extent of my trail building technology. I'm trying to line the landing up right now. So the hammer is pointing where I'm gonna go, and the back is squaring the back of the landing. I'm gonna make sure that that's pointing into the berm. So I'm gonna go up to the top and check now. Okay, so I'm walking along the top of the rock drop here, just checking the alignment of my landing. Okay, and that hammer is pointed just a bit too much to the left. And same with the shovel, which represents the back of the landing. So I'm gonna square the whole thing up a little bit more, and then I should be able to start building my landing. I'm back up on top of the rock drop now, and it looks like my shovel and hammer trick worked. That landing's looking pretty square. So I'm changing up my dig strategy for this landing. As you can see, for the berm, I've been using topsoil, which is actually almost black. And for landing, I've been digging down to get clay, which is more of a golden brown. So this is the soil I've been using on the berm, and as you can see, when it dries out, it just basically turns to dust. And I don't want that, so when I'm done, I'm actually gonna put a layer of clay on top of this berm. And the reason I didn't build the whole berm out of clay is unfortunately the only way to access clay in this yard is to dig down for it. And I didn't want to have big holes like this all over the whole yard. So when I'm done with this, I'll fill this hole up with rocks and sticks and then cover it up. So things are looking pretty good with the berm and the landing. And now it's time to work on the takeoff to this rock drop. Originally I wanted the rider's tires to launch off this part of the rock right here, but I'm not liking the approach angle into the berm. So what I'm gonna do is build up the right side of this rock here with dirt, sticks, and surface it with more rocks so that your tires leave from here and you have a much better attack angle riding into that berm. So I'm making these wooden stakes, which are gonna hold up a retaining wall, so when I ride across the rocks, they won't collapse. Done. So I've got some bad news. The bucket has died. I lived a good life. Couldn't have done it without you, buddy. At least the bucket's sacrifice was not in vain. This is looking pretty done. Okay, it's time for my first hit in the yard. And it just rained. I went inside to eat some pizza, and yeah, it rained the whole time I was in there. So it's time to hit this rock drop for the first time. I'm actually feeling kind of nervous. I've never really built anything this extensive, and it's looking pretty tight. Drop off the rock, land, and pretty much when I land, my front wheel's already gonna be in the berm. Don't hit the tree, don't go over the top of the berm like that. and go this way. This is really tight and sketchy when I actually look at it with my bike. So I think for best chances of success, I'm actually gonna have to hip pretty far to the right and land out on that rock. Gee, I'm heading right for that tree. Okay, hit the top drop to the right, get left, straighten out, set up, hip left, turn. Woo! Very tight. Very, very tight. Here's my tracks. And yeah, it's still pretty soft, but hit it here. Okay, it's tight, but it worked. Better. Okay, this is my second last attempt for the day. This is just sketchy. Nope, that sucks. Man, a lot of work, and it sucks. God, that is just unfortunate. So I'm gonna take this part of the berm and move it back. I've already moved the rocks, so I'm just gonna kind of push this back. I wish I had a bucket.
So it's a new day in the yard, and I've made what I think are the necessary adjustments to this berm to make it ride a whole lot better. Actually had a crash yesterday. What happened was I was coming around the apex of the turn, and the berm was fading away too fast, and my front tire just hit the top of the berm, and the whole corner just exploded out from underneath me. So I had to do a bit of a baseball slide to escape that one unharmed. And today I've rebuilt the berm where it collapsed, and I've also built it bigger so that it's not fading away anymore, and it looks a lot better.
Okay, let's do this. Oh yeah, that is way better. Oh, sick. Here's the tire tracks here. And whereas before they were like up here, of course the corner was actually down here, but that's exactly where I want them. Yes.
So the first project in the yard is officially complete, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I know this wasn't the biggest drop or the biggest berm in the world, but it was a great place to get the lay of the land and really learn what challenges would lay ahead of me. I definitely think the rocks and the dirt are gonna play a factor in my future builds, but I'm just gonna have to get creative, so stay tuned for that. But for now, I think I'm gonna go ride somebody else's hard work. So until then, ride good trails.